9.5 notes. 9.5 notes. Arc length of a circle. Question is number 1, what is arc length? And also, how do we find the arc length of a circle? That's what we're going to be covering in this video. Make sure everything you see in the video goes in your notes. So arc length is a part of the circumference of the circle. You may be asking, what is circumference? If you were standing on the circle and I told you to walk the distance around the circle, all the way around, that is what we call the circumference of the circle. Okay, that's the circumference. So, therefore, an arc length is simply just a portion of that, say from here to here, is what we call arc length. That's what that is. Okay, so to find arc length, first you must know the circumference of a circle. Write this down, please. The circumference of a circle will always be equal to pi times diameter. Pi times diameter. Okay? So, to find the arc length, we're simply going to take pi times diameter. Now, the thing with pi times diameter is that will tell us the entire length all the way around the circle. Pi times diameter will. So what we need to do, very similar to sector area in our last notes, is we need to multiply this by a fraction of the circle that we want. What fraction is that? Well, it's definitely out of 360 because 360 degrees is a full circle, right? So the part that we want is going to be this central angle arc, just like we were doing in sector area. So the question is, what is that, right? And that's what you would multiply that by, and that is going to give you arc length. Let's try some examples of this. Pause the video, rewind as much as you need. Copy down example 1, pause, and continue when you're ready. It says find the arc length of arc AB. Arc AB. So first let's find arc AB. So arc AB is going to be right here. There's arc AB. And it's saying that arc AB is 60 degrees. If I were to make two radiuses that connect, that means that this would also be 60 degrees. So remember that this arc measurement and the central angle are the same. So let's do that. So to find arc length, I'm just going to say AL for arc length is equal to pi times diameter. Remember, pi times diameter is the circumference of the entire circle. Circumference, entire circle. But we don't want the entire circle, we only want arc AB, so we need to multiply this by the fraction that it is of the circle. The entire circle is 360 degrees. The certain fraction that we want is 60 degrees, so we're going to multiply this by 60 over 360. So now the question is, what is the diameter? This is not the diameter. That is a radius, right? If I draw another radius, I have 9, which gives me a diameter. Remember, diameter is just 2 radius put together. So 9 times 2, or 9 plus 9, is the diameter. So the diameter is 18. So 18 is the diameter. So we're going to say pi times 18 is the diameter, right? Times, I can already cancel these zeros out, right? Anytime that both numbers end in 0, I can just cancel that out. And then both of these numbers are divisible by 6, right? 6 divided by 6 is 1. 36 divided by 6 is 6. So this is times 1 divided by 6. So we've already simplified it quite a bit. So we're going to say that the arc length is equal to, I have pi times 18 times 1. Which should give me 18 pi. We're going to put that pi symbol behind in the back over 6. And we can simplify that even further because 18 divided by 6 is 3. So the arc length of this specific arc is 3 pi centimeters. Not centimeters squared. This is not area. So it's not square centimeters. It is simply just centimeters. So that's our arc length, 3 pi centimeters. This is what we call the exact arc length. Now, If I wanted to round it, say the directions say round it to the 10th place. Fine. We're just going to take 3 times pi. 3 pi. 3 times pi gives me 9.4 if I round it. So I'm going to say approximately 9.4 centimeters is this length, right? So 9.4 centimeters is this length right here, right? This arc length. It's approximately 9.4 centimeters, or exactly 3 pi centimeters. Okay, let's go to our next example here. Example 2, again, pause it, rewind it as much as you need. The pizza slice in this picture has a central angle measure of 75 degrees. So that's already labeled, as you can see. What is the arc length of the crust? So it's talking about the crust from this point to this point. We're trying to figure out the length of this piece from here to here. So this is arc length. We're measuring the distance on the arc, not the area. So we're going to say, I'm just going to say AL for arc length is equal to pi times diameter. So remember, pi times diameter will give me the full distance around the circle, right? Full distance around, one time. That's arc length, or that's pi times diameter, excuse me. I don't want the entire distance, I only want a certain portion, so I need to multiply this by what that portion is. We know that the entire circle is 360 degrees. The portion that we want is 75 degrees, so we're going to multiply this by 75 over 360. Okay, so we're going to say that this arc length is equal to pi times, now the question is, what is the diameter? If you look here, 12 is not a diameter, it's a radius, so we know that 12 times 2, or 12 plus 12, is 24, and that's the diameter. So we have to be real careful of that. Don't just mindlessly plug in 12. 12 is not the diameter. Times 75 over 360. Let's simplify this a little bit. So we're going to have 24 times 75 right here. So let's pull up our calculator. 24 times 75, that gives me 1,800. And then we have to multiply it by pi. We're going to put that in the back. So we're going to put the number first. So 1,800 pi over 360. Let's go ahead and simplify this even further. Both of these numbers end in a 0, so I can cross that out. Now I have 180 over 36. Both of these are even numbers, so I can divide them by 2. 180 divided by 2 is 90, so I'm going to write 90 pi. Notice how pi stays. 36 divided by 2 is 18. Well, look, notice how both of these numbers are still even, so I can divide by 2 again. 90 divided by 2, 45, so I'm going to say 45 pi. 18 divided by 2 is 9. And look, I can keep going. I realize that what? Both of these values are divisible by 9. 9 times 5 is 45, so 45 divided by 9 is 5, right? So that's going to be 5. And then 9 divided by 9 is 1. So I end up getting 5 pi over 1, or just 5 pi. Let's go back and look at our units. These are inches, right? That mark, the little double mark that you see on the 12 there, that means inches. So we're going to say 5 pi inches, not inches squared, because we are not calculating area. We are calculating the arc length. So this length right here is 5 pi, right here, right? Inches. And this is what we call the exact area. Now, if we wanted to round it, we're just going to take out a calculator, and we're going to take 5 and multiply it by pi, and we get 15.71. So if we go to the hundredths place, we would say 70, but the 7 makes the 0 into a 1. So this time we'll go to the hundredths place, and we'll say approximately 15.71 inches is what that length is. 5 pi is approximately 15.71 inches in length. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how you calculate arc length, and that is what arc length is. Don't forget your summary. Submit your notes when you are finished.